The ideal man that a girl would like is the guy that is so high value that girls are chasing him, girls are pursuing him, girls want him all the time, and that he also almost has to run away from sex, and that he actually runs away from it more often than not. She wants the guy who can sleep with any girl he wants, but not the guy who is sleeping with every girl under the sun. Note that distinction. It's very, very important, because I'm seeing a lot of times guys, when they're talking to girls, or a lot of times in their online dating profiles these days, those kind of things, they're going out of their way to act more playerish. They're going out of their way to mention dating other girls, which is not a good idea. When guys are asked how many girls I slept with, some guys, even that have a reasonably medium to high number, are elevating the number because they think it's more attractive if they give a bigger number. The traits and qualities that would have allowed you to potentially sleep with a lot of girls and do make a lot of girls interested in you are attractive traits. Taking those traits and using them to sleep with as many girls as possible is not an attractive trait. So being the type of person who could do it is attractive. Actually doing it, not considered quite as attractive, right? If you look at the example of doing pickup or being a pickup artist, what is it? It's literally trying to display and embody and become the most attractive qualities you can. And so if you do that successfully, right, you literally are displaying more attractive qualities, and displaying more attractive qualities more consistently is the definition of being attractive, right? Attractiveness can only be determined by the qualities you are displaying. Do you want to learn the skills? Absolutely. The skills are incredibly valuable. You should learn them, you should internalize them, you should ingrain them, and you should utilize them in every possible area where they are going to help you. That is just like kind of logic and common sense, because it isn't a useful skill set. However, should you be highlighting and emphasizing those skills and how you convey yourself to people? Absolutely not. One final thing I want to bring up with regards to this that's coming up a ton lately is the idea of kind of the lover versus provider dichotomy, right? Because there's this huge inclination in the community of guys who study game to say, I'm the lover, I'm not the provider. There's a stigma around being a provider that all providers get like used for money, and girls will divorce them and take half, and providers get cheated on, all this kind of stuff. And it is true that that does happen sometimes. If you are a low value provider, that will happen, right? If the way that you got the girl is by not through your personality, not through inherently who you are, but by promising her things and showering her with gifts, well, as soon as you stop doing that, she's probably going to break up with you. And while you're doing that, if some guy comes along that's more emotionally relevant, he's going to, steal her away from you, or she's going to sleep with him, or whatever. So that is valid if you are a low value provider. But given the same value level, given the same attractiveness level, if you are a guy who is of high enough value to attract her as a lover, if you also add to that the willingness to be a little bit of a provider, or the willingness to have some emotional stability and actually give the girl the good kind of interaction and good life that you kind of maybe promised up front, if you actually follow through, you're going to be so much more valuable. So while it is true that girls have these two kind of like dichotomies of what they're looking for in a guy, one is the high value guy, whether he'll stay with her or not, and the other is the guy who will be loyal and stay with her, and there is that dichotomy. The actual ideal, though, is that she gets both from the same man. So if she can meet the guy who's high value and will stick around, that is actually the ideal. It's only when the guy who's high value won't stick around and she supplements with the other, or the guy who will stick around is not high value enough and she supplements with the other. But her ideal case is actually both. So this sort of stigma that anything providery, or anything where you're being nice to a girl or good to a girl, or any kind of use of financial resources at any point in the relationship is problematic and bad, that's a terrible, terrible stigma. It is absolutely and totally fine to spend some money on the girl. Now, the way you frame it is important. You don't want to frame it that I'm spending money because I'm not enough without spending money on you. And you don't want to frame it as, leading with money is that's the first best quality about yourself. If a girl that already likes you and already is into you is, you want to have an experience with, or you want to spend some money together, it's completely fine, especially if it's within the idea that you're doing this to have fun together, to enhance the mutual experience. So there's a big difference, for example, between taking a girl on a trip that you happen to pay for because you want to go on the trip, versus maybe buying her like a new refrigerator, which you're not going to get any joy from, and that's purely just paying her bills. There's a very big difference between those two types of things in terms of the attitude around what the money's going for, and the attitude around are you buying her affection, or are you just facilitating a great relationship the two of you are having. So I know I ranted a little bit during this video. It's because I'm seeing this over and over again, and it's frustrating me. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you took something from it. Hopefully it helps you to avoid some key mistakes. So take it, use it, and I will see you next time. Take care.